Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim. Today I am going to tell the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. It is so interesting. Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam was the beloved son of Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam, who had 11 other sons. Binyamin, who was the youngest, was from the same mother as Yusuf, while the rest older half brothers. Yusuf alayhi salam, still a young boy, awake one glorious morning, delighted by a pleasant dream he just had. He ran to his father. He ran to his father in excitement and said, "Oh, my father, indeed, I have seen 11 stars and the sun and the moon. I saw them prostrating to me." Yaqub alayhi salam was overjoyed at the realization that his dear son was indeed chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be bestowed with prophethood. However, Yaqub alayhi salam was concerned about his older son's possible reaction to his narration, for even thought he tiered them equally. They harbored jealousy towards Yusuf alayhi salam. He therefore warned Yusuf alayhi salam against relating his dreams to his brother, lest they plot for his downfall. Which time the malice in the hearts of Yusuf alayhi salam brothers kept growing. They even Yusuf alayhi salam, because they felt he was special and they were not unable to handle their emotions. They devised a plan to get rid of Yusuf alayhi salam by throwing him into a well. So one day they approached their father and asked whether Yusuf alayhi salam could come out with them to play. I have got a very eloquent. Yaqub alayhi salam said, "Indeed, it saddens me that you should take him, and I fear that a wolf would eat him while you are of him unaware." This is in Surah Yusuf, ayat 12.13. But the older brother insisted that they would take extreme care of him and that Yusuf would enjoy and the Yusuf alayhi salam would enjoy himself. The next day, Yusuf alayhi salam set off with his brother. They traveled far in pursuit of a well-deep inn to throw their brother in. When they finally reached the well on the pretext of drinking water, they led him to it, grabbed him, and removed his shirt. Yusuf alayhi salam began struggling and pleaded with them to let go. The brothers eventually outpowered Yusuf alayhi salam and threw them down the well and rushed back home. The brothers ran to their father carrying Yusuf alayhi salam's shirt and was seamed with sheep bloods. They cried, "Oh, our father! Indeed, we went racing with each other and left Yusuf with our possessions, and a wolf ate him." Yaqub alayhi salam was suspicious of their story. He in his heart believed his son was still alive and and that the brothers were likely enticed by Shaitan to do evil. He remarked that the wolf was indeed merciful to have eaten his son up without tearing his shirt. He broke the bereavement with patience and prayed for his son's safe return. Meanwhile, Yusuf alayhi salam managed to cling to a stone legend and he prayed friendly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to grant him salvation. Soon a caravan bought for Egypt. Egypt stopped at this well to fetch water. The water troll held up his bucket and he was shocked to see the boy clinging to the rope. The caravan people immediately shackled Yusuf alayhi salam and took him along to Egypt. The world quickly spread throughout, and the Yusuf alayhi salam was there. Wait a second, ma'am. The word quickly spread throughout Egypt that a strangely handsome and electric boy was to be outearned. This news piqued the interest of the wealthy and elite bidders, eager, eager, eager to see if the rumors were true. The oceans went wild with birds escalating rapidly. Ultimately, he was sold to the highest bidder, who was none other than Al Aziz, the chief minister of Egypt. Yusuf alayhi salam's new masters, who had no children, was completely taken with Yusuf alayhi salam. He told his wife to take good care of Yusuf alayhi salam, and they could either use him as a slave or prepare perhaps even adopt him as their son. Yusuf alayhi salam not only grew up to be a handsome young man but was also blessed with exceptional knowledge and wisdom by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is narrated in the famous hadith when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ascended to heaven during the night journey. He went through the gate and entered the third heaven where he saw Yusuf alayhi salam, who was said to have been given half world beauty. The Quran also reflects on Yusuf alayhi salam, which is stating, and when Yusuf alayhi salam reached maturity, we gave him judgment and knowledge, and thus we reward the doers of good. His his integrity and honesty captivated the heart of Al-Aziz, who ensured Yusuf alayhi salam to be in charge of household. It was during this period Yusuf alayhi salam was conferred with his second trial. Zulaikha, Al-Aziz's wife, watched Yusuf alayhi salam day after day. Her feelings intensifying to the point of obsession, overwhelmed by her dresses. She became desperate to fulfill them. One day, when her husband was away from home, she closed the doors and invited Yusuf alayhi salam to her. Yusuf alayhi salam, fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, replied, I seek refuge, refuge in Allah. Indeed, He is my master, who has made good my residence. Indeed, wrongdoers will not succeed. He turned away and ran towards the closed door to escape Zulaikha. Zulaikha chased after him in depression and grabbed his shirt from the back, which caused it to rip. The door opened and Al-Aziz entered. Ash, Ashhamad, she ran to him and cried, What is the recompense of the one who intended evil for your wife, but that he be imprisoned or a painful punishment? Yusuf alayhi salam was blamed. He continued to deny his mistress, saying, It was she who sought to seduce me. Al-Aziz was a fair man. He was confused and unsure of whom to believe. So he consulted his wife's cousin for advice. If his shirt is turned from the front, then she has told the truth, and he is of the liar. Thus, Yusuf alayhi salam innocence was proven. Al-Aziz apologized for his wife's indecency and swore Yusuf alayhi salam to secrecy. Nevertheless, the story of Zuleika's pursuit spread. Other women began ridiculing her character. Distressed, Zuleika planned to prove to them her helpless reaction to Yusuf alayhi salam extraordinarily handsomeness. Hence, she invited these women to a banquet at her residence one day. There, she served them fruit along with knives. When the women were happily chatting away while slicing fruits, Zuleika summoned Yusuf alayhi salam. The woman looked at him, astonished at such angelic beauty. They cut their hands without realizing they had. Zuleika seized the moment to announce that this was the man for whom she was blamed. She then warned Yusuf alayhi salam that if he denied her again, he would be imprisoned. To which Yusuf alayhi salam replied, My lord, prison is more to my liking than that to which they invite me. That night Zuleika convinced her husband that the only way to safeguard her honor and his prestige was to imprison Yusuf alayhi salam. This was a thought decision for Al-Aziz. He knew of Yusuf alayhi salam innocence and believed him to be trustworthy, but nevertheless he agreed with his wife. Thus Yusuf alayhi salam was unjustly imprisoned. Yusuf alayhi salam years in prison. During Yusuf alayhi salam's time in prison, he was bestowed with the ability to interpret dreams around the same time. Two other men were sentenced to prison. The first was a cupbearer to the king, and the other was the king's chief. Yusuf alayhi salam cellmates mesmerized by his pity sought him to have their dreams explained. One dreamed that he was surveying the king wine, and the other was carrying bread on his head, which two birds were eating up. Yusuf alayhi salam inwardly called them to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then then interpreted, "O two companions of prison, as for one of you, he will give drink to his master of wine, but as for the other, he will be screwrified, and the birds will eat from his head. The matter has been decided, about which you both inquire." And he said to to the the one he knew would go free, "Mention me before the king." But Shaitan made him forget the mention to his master, and Yusuf alayhi salam remained in prison for several years. Still he made patience his own and spent those years in remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The king has a dream. One day the king Egypt had an odd dream. He summoned his men and said, "Indeed, I have seen 7 fat cows belong eating my 7 that were lean, and 7 green spikes of grain, and others there were dry. Oh, oh, I mean at once explain to me vision, if you should interpret visions." The cupbearer, who immediately remembered his companion in prison, informed the king of Yusuf alayhi salam and his impeccable dream inspection. The king sent his cupbearer to prison to meet with Yusuf alayhi salam and inquire about his peculiar dream. Yusuf alayhi salam was overjoyed at the sight of his companion, and knew that this was indeed the plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He narrated to him, "You will plant for 7 years consecutively, and what you harvest live in these spikes, except a little from which you will eat, then will come after that 7 difficult years, which will consume what you advanced saved for them, except a little from which you will store, then will come after that a year in which the people will be giving rain and which in which they will press olives and grapes." Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, based on the dream, understood that there was going to be a famine in 7 years that would king last 7 years. He advised the king to take immediate action to start their harvesting and storing ample food supplies. Yusuf alayhi salam considered that this preparation would be crucial to make sure there's enough food available for everyone. Furthermore, he gave the good news that the following years would be a year of abundance, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would bring rainfall, allowing the crops to flourish. Con- convinced, convinced by Yusuf alayhi salam interpretation of dreams, the king ordered to meet him in in person. However, Yusuf alayhi salam declined to leave prison before his inno- innocence was es- es- established. Shed his incident on a fair trial to defend his honor. So the king summoned the women involved in the incidents. Among them were the women who cut their hands, and they spoke of Yusuf alayhi salam innocence before the king, saying, Allah forbid, we know about him no evil. The wife of Al-Aziz was trapped. He convinced to the king. Now the truth has become evident. It was I who sought to seduce him, and indeed he is truthful. Thus Yusuf alayhi salam innocence was proven, released from prison. Yusuf alayhi salam stood before the king to thank him for his generosity. Yusuf alayhi salam greatly impressed the king after losing his freedom and being falsely imprisoned for many years. He wasn't angry, seeking revenge. He was composed and showed the noblest of qualities. Because of this, the king felt comfortable appointing Yusuf alayhi salam to a high position. Yusuf alayhi salam asked if he could be made the storekeeper over the storehouses across his land. He wanted to be a controller over the grainers to ensure they were well equipped to endure the long famine. It was not out of self interest but a personal responsibility he felt to make sure people would not die due to storage. Yusuf alayhi salam harvested and stored crops during the 7 years of fertility. Then, as predicted, came the years of famine that also reached the household of his father Yaqub alayhi salam in Canaan. Yaqub alayhi salam sent all his sons except Binyamin to Egypt to purchase provisions. Yusuf alayhi salam immediately recognized his brother and provided for them, but they did not recognize him. And why would they? To them, Yusuf alayhi salam had passed away years ago. Yusuf alayhi salam casually inquired about their family. The brother said, we are 11 brothers, the children of a noble prophet. The youngest is at home tending to the needs of our aging father. In a sudden rush of emotion, tears welled up in Yusuf alayhi salam eyes. His heart heavy, longing for home to see his father and younger brother. Struggling to regain his com- composure, he managed to ask, "Are you truthful people?" Confused, they replied, "What reason should we have to state an untruth?" Yusuf alayhi salam informed them that if they brought their brothers back with them the next time, he would reward them with double the rations, but if they failed to do so, he would limit their measure. He wanted to make sure they would fulfill his command as an additional precaution. Yusuf alayhi salam ordered one of his servants to put their money back in their bags so that when they returned home, they'd have enough money to return and purchase more. When the brothers returned home, they told their father, saying, "Oh, our father, we have been denied future supplies. So send our brother with us so that we may receive our measure, and we will identically watch over him." Yaqub alayhi salam was injured. How can how could he trust them when they had failed him tribally with Yusuf alayhi salam? After some time, however, their needs pressed Yaqub alayhi salam to send Binyamin with them for more provisions. He took their soul out to safeguard him. Yaqub alayhi salam then prayed to Allah to safeguard her dear. This is that Yaqub alayhi salam read. فَاللَّهُ خَيْرٌ حَافِظًا وَهُوَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّحِيمٍ. He told, Allah is the best protector and He is the most merciful. Yusuf alayhi salam returned with his brother. Yusuf alayhi salam welcomed the privileged guests and invited them to a feast. With great difficulty, he withheld from immediately embracing his brother. Yusuf alayhi salam showered his guests with his gifts and hospitality. Afterwards, Yusuf alayhi salam arranged for Binyamin to be lodged in a room with him alone, where he disclosed he needed, "I am your brother." Binyamin was overjoyed and swung his arms around his older brother. They cried for a little before Yusuf alayhi salam tried to reassure him. He needed, "I am your brother, so don't despair over what they used to do to me." The next day, Yusuf alayhi salam filled his brother bag with grain. He then secretly planted the king's golden bowl in Benjamin's bag. As they were about to leave, the king's soldiers closed the gates and stopped the brothers. They informed them the king cups had gone missing. "By Allah, you have certainly know that we did not come to cast corruption in the land, and we have not been thieves." The brothers proceeded. The soldiers pursuing the matter's future inquired, and the consecutions if the thief was among them. With confidence, the brother responded that if one of them was found guilty, they should offer themselves a slave to the owner of the stolen cup. The brother believed that this would be just to lend oneself over as property to the owner, just as the thief had taken their property. property. During the search, the cup was found in Benjamin's bag. The soldiers cried, "Oh, caravan, indeed you are thieves!" Shock and Shock and disbelief struck the brothers. Thought of their sick father at the home, and their promise to protect Benjamin at all costs circled their minds. The brothers knew that their father loved Benjamin very dearly, and he was means of relief since losing Yusuf alayhi salam. They worried the loss of Benjamin would completely devastate their father. They be, they begged the soldiers to release their younger brother and take one of them instead, but the soldiers refused. The eldest among the brothers said, "I will never this land until my father permits me or Allah decides for me, and He is the best judge." So the rest of the brothers left Egypt, leaving the eldest behind. Yaqub alayhi salam suffered patiently. When they returned home, they broke the news to Yaqub alayhi salam. "Oh, our father, indeed your son has stolen, and we did not testify except to what we know about. We were not witness of the unseen, and asked the city to which we were, and the caravan in which we came, and indeed we are truthful." Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam faced the grave situation with the grace of true believer. Seeking any kind of peace, he turned to prayer, placing his trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Plan prepares. Allah will bring them to me all together. Indeed, it is He who is the knowing the wise. He hoped an eldest son who remained stuck in Egypt. Yet this new loss rekindled his enduring grief for Yusuf alayhi salam. Turning away in sorrow, he cried, "Oh, my sorrow over." It is said that in his sadness he cried too so much his eyes became white and grief, which led to his blindness. His considence became so bad, the brothers began to worry about his health. They warned Yaqub alayhi salam, "By Allah, you will not kill. Remember, until you become fatally ill or become one of those who perish." In his steadfast steadfastness, Yaqub alayhi salam responded to his son, saying, "I only complain of my suffering and my grief to Allah, and I know from Allah that which you do not know." Commentators believe that in saying this line, "I know from Allah that which you do not know," was expressing his belief in the goodness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He anticipates that Yusuf alayhi salam is still alive, and that the vision he conveyed to him when he was young would still hold true. Yaqub alayhi salam then responds, "Oh my sons, go and find out about Yusuf and his brother and despair not to rely from Allah. Indeed, no one disappears or rely from Allah except the disbelieving people." The return to Egypt. The sons returned to Egypt once again. They met with Yusuf alayhi salam and pleaded that tragedy had befallen them. Yusuf alayhi salam then spoke to them in their negative language. "Do you know what would you do did with Yusuf and his brother when you were ignorant?" It didn't take long for the brothers to realize that this was indeed their long lost brother, and they began to tremble in fear. But Yusuf alayhi salam comforted them, saying, "No blame will no blame will there be upon you today. Allah will forgive you, and He is the most merciful of the merciful." He then said, "Take this shirt, my shirt, take this, my shirt, and cast it over the face of my father. He will become seeing and bring me your family all together." As insured, the brothers cast Yusuf alayhi salam's shirt over their father's face, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala miraculously miraculously restored his eyesight. They beseeched their father to seek Allah forgiveness for them. Together they all sent to Egypt with Yusuf alayhi salam, warmly welcomed them. Yusuf alayhi salam raised his elderly father upon the throne. He said, "Oh my father, this is the explanation of my vision of before. My Lord has made it reality, and He was certainly good to me when He took me out of prison and brought you here from the Bedouin life after. Satan had incidents incidents between me and my brothers. Indeed, my Lord is subtle. It was in what He wills. Indeed, to 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 is He who is the knowing the wife." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in His infinite wisdom and mercy, brought about the reunion of father and son after many years of separation in a beautiful fulfillment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is the surah which began with Yusuf alayhi salam prophet's dream. Consider reaching the point where that becomes a reality. Yusuf alayhi salam makes a dua to make Creator, thanking Him for all His blessings. That dua is, Rabbi khar at Rabbi qad ataytani minal mulki wa alamtani min tawilil ahadis fatir as-samawati wal ardi anta walayhi fid dunya wal akhirati طوفني مسلمون وعلقني بسم الله and said, "My lord, you have given me something of sovereign and taught me of the interpretation of dreams, creator of the heavens and earth. You are protector in this world and in the here hereafter. Cause me to die a Muslim and join with me with the righteous." Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam knew from his dream that he was destined from the greatness, but it seemed at every turn of his life he was met difficulties and adversity. He was he was betrayed by his brothers, sold as a slave, and unjustly imprisoned. Yusuf alayhi salam could have chosen to be bitter and question Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by saying, "I thought you had ordained for me greatness." He could have easily complained and asked, why do these things keep happening to me? But he know better. He know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had a plan for him, and he had to just keep faith. Yusuf alayhi salam focused on the best he could, treating people right with respect and dignity, and doing more than what was requested of him. If he did his part, he know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would take care of him. He was taken away as a child, grew up not knowing his family, and despite this odds, he he grew to be a man, noble, status, san- sata- status respected by all those who met him, from Al-Aziz to the woman who cut their hands, and to the king. They all admired Yusuf alayhi salam for his excellent qualities. It's a lesson that Sirsume Sirsume's stations don't make the man; they only reveal him to himself. It's also It's also noteworthy to mention that the story of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam holds a unique place in the Quran. He is the only prophet to have his story told chronologically within a single surah. Delighted Surah Yusuf contrast this with the stories of the other prophets, which are mentioned in different surahs and require piecing piecing together. We strongly recommended re- readers readers to listen and follow along with the translation of Surah Yusuf, as it beautifully recounts the entirety of the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam journey. Jazakallahu khairan kasir.